Welcome in. This is our second session of our summer PD series here at Rubin. My name is Danny Rubin. I'm the founder, talking to you from Virginia Beach, where we are based. And we are the leader in online resources for employability skills. We work with CTE programs, colleges and universities around the country, helping students write and speak more professionally for college and career opportunities. And what we're doing today is looking back over the past year that students and teachers spent in our Emerge curriculum and showing you the most popular assignments that teachers selected from and used as a guide for what's resonating the most and helping you think about what you can teach in the new school year. I do want to catch, I saw a few people commenting, Blue Springs, Missouri, and Newberry, South Carolina, Western North Carolina. Hi there, Tanya. Thank you for being here as well. So the first thing I want to do before we dive in to the meat of our day is I want to offer a contest that we're running throughout the summer. Raise your hand if you like Chick-fil-A. Any hands for Chick-fil-A in here? So we're doing a $100 Chick-fil-A gift card. All you have to do is follow us on Instagram. That's it. And you'll see the very first post that's pinned is related to this contest. You have to tag a friend. If you follow us and tag a friend, you're entered to win a $100 Chick-fil-A gift card. We'll announce the winner in August. So I'm gonna give you a second. You want to get it on your phone to follow us. And let me know if you do that. And if you're done following us, then I'll move on. But I want to start there and I'll do this again at the end. But please follow us. We have a lot of great content that you can use in the classroom too, a lot of teachable stuff. And we'd love to have you in our community as we're growing our Instagram. So everybody get it? Who's going to get it? Yep, good. Another 5 seconds here. Please follow us on Instagram. And that Chick-fil-A gift card might be yours. All right, I'll explain that again at the end. And so what we're doing today is running through 5 of our most popular assignments. We had, by my last count, 1.3 million minutes logged by students in our platform this year, which is a record high. And we have a lot of great data about what they're working on and what teachers value the most and what they want to teach. So we're going to go through that together. And to do that, I want to set up what we're going to learn and also offer another free opportunity. How many of you were with us a week ago during our webinar about the social media etiquette? Was anybody there? Social media etiquette session last week. So on that meeting, on that webinar, we offered free access to our Aspire Career Exploration platform. This time, another free opportunity to use in the new school year our Emerge employability activity curriculum, which is the platform we'll be working out of today for the webinar. Emerge is a library of over 600 instructional items for email etiquette, phone etiquette, networking skills, resume skills, cover letter, public speaking, everything under the sun around communication for middle school and high school. And it is a big Netflix style library. And we'll dig into it with these tabs in a moment. All the content can be loaded and integrated to Schoology. I'm sorry, to Canvas. Anybody here use Canvas? Any hands up for Canvas? Or Schoology? All of it single sign-on, or Google Classroom. Everything can live directly in your LMS, no passwords, no signing in, no accounts. It's very, very easy. That's why we probably hit 1.3 million minutes, because it's very easy to get to and access. And so what we're doing today is working out of it. And my offer right now, and I'll mention it again at the end, if you would like access to our entire library, all these different skills to mess around with and plan for next year and use this platform in one classroom at no cost for next year, one classroom, Then what we did last week, I'll ask the same thing now. I'm going to give you a Calendly link in the chat. Thank you, Shalana, for your comment. Calendly link in the chat. Please go there and pick a time where you have 10 minutes this week or early next week. And our team will meet with you and give you access to Emerge, which is what we're about to work out of. So you're welcome to get that offer now. You can also go through it with us, and I'll mention this again at the end. But this is the offer to have one class complimentary from us to use this whole platform any way you'd like next school year. So please feel free to use that Calendly link that I just put in the chat. Sign up, we'll give it to you. And we had many people sign up for the Aspire career exploration content last week. And this is our new offer for this week. So there you go. And I'll mention it again at the end. So with that said, let's get into the top 5 exercises that teachers chose over the past year. And I want to show you all 5 so you know where we're going. And then we'll work back and go through each one. And I hope these turn into assignments for you that you can use in the new school year. Whether you have the whole platform or just this recording, I want you to use these assignments as you see fit in the new year. So let's just touch on the themes we're going to address. The number 1 assignment over in our platform, done tens of thousands of times, is learning to not send emails like text messages. Raise your hand if you have received an email in the past school year from a student or faculty member or a parent who emailed you like a text. Any hands for that? And let me ask you, when you get that email and it looks like a text or the entire email is in the subject line, what's your first reaction? Regardless of who sent it, what's your first reaction? Tell me in the chat. When you see that email and it's all lowercase or it's slang or it's one unbroken sentence, oh no. Cringe. Hey, Janet, arg. Yeah. So we're hard at work over here teaching students around the country to stop doing that and learning how to write more professionally. Hard to even read. And again, make sure when you're commenting, everybody, please do it with select everyone, not host and panelists. That's the default. Yes. So we're going to go through an activity, a simple one, great to kick off the year, about how to write emails not like texting. Then we're going to go to how to set your own voicemail. I mentioned we do phone etiquette here in Emerge through Rubin. And we are going to teach students, we have been teaching them, and we want you to teach yours, how to set your own voicemail, right? So if somebody tries to leave you a voicemail, what is the most annoying thing when you try to leave someone a voicemail and what does that computer voice say? This person does not have a voicemail set up yet. And you're like, right? We have to help students know what voicemail is and then how to actually set one that's professional. All the little things add up, right? All the little things end up being big things. Then we're going to go to preparing our own questions for a job interview. And I should have mentioned, I usually do, I'm a former journalist. I'm a TV reporter by trade. I work for CBS as a TV reporter. And so my background is asking questions, asking good questions, thoughtful questions, researched questions. So we're going to talk about that. And again, teachers were very interested in that lesson. It was our number 3, the top 5. Then we're going to learn another journalistic technique, which is how to tell a story in a cover letter, a story of success. I'll get into that more in a moment, but another powerful technique to gain attention. And finally, we're going to talk about elevator pitches. How many of you help students with elevator pitches? Can you tell me in the chat? How many of you work with students on public speaking, elevator pitch, things like that? So we're going to talk about a really sharp, tight 30-second elevator pitch that also helps students to identify who they are, their own unique identity as well. All right, so that's where we're going. And we're really jumping across the Emerge platform as teachers do because we cover so many different skills, writing or speaking. All right, so the first thing we're going to do, as I mentioned, is we are going to dive into texting versus emailing. All of our activities, and by the way, everything's about 20 minutes, 25 minutes in here to pace it. We always start with a video, and they're about 20 seconds long. And this one is from one of our voices in the program, Charles, and he talks about the value of not sending an email like a text message. In fact, just to get us into this, I'll play this short video and then we'll do the assignment together.
Text messages to friends are different from emails to business professionals. Business or career emails require more formal writing and a greater attention to detail. On this page, you will identify the problems with sending emails that look like text. You will then convert common texting language into a phrase or a sentence more appropriate for college and career opportunities.
All right. So from that setup, then we're going to do a short reading, very short. We love short around here, brevity, about what it means to be unprofessional and professional. And so unprofessional, and again, I want to hold these screens up here because you can use them in the school year. We do not write sentences with all lowercase letters or abbreviations like that. We do capitalize the first word of a sentence. We do place periods. How many of you get emails from students and they don't have periods? There's just no end to the sentence. It just ends when they want it to end. These are the little things that add up. We need to write out words in full. Okay, and I do want to point out as I'm going along, I'm highlighting, and we have a feature that you can have the words read aloud or translated and read aloud. We have 23 different languages in the program, so it's a built-in accessibility function. So the exercise here, very simple one, and you put this screen up in front of the room next year. We provide 4 different text message looking sentences. IDK if you are free, TMRW, but can we meet to talk about the part-time job, THX? THX for the time today, I mean it for real, for real. And we want the students to rewrite these lines as complete sentences, proper grammar, and then explain why they did that. Why is texting language inappropriate? And then show how you corrected each sentence. Simple. And we're not even getting into the actual structure of the email yet. This is more fundamental, understanding the difference between a text to a friend and an email to a teacher, to an employer, to a college, whomever, to a coach, whoever it might be. So this is like laying the groundwork. So I want to ask the question while you look at this exercise. Let me ask in the chat, where could you incorporate this lesson in the new school year? What time of the year? What class? Tell me, let's get some ideas in the chat so we can all benefit from each other collectively. Where could this exercise show itself? Because this is about as fundamental as it gets in 2024, heading into 2025. We have to understand the difference between a text and an email. Janet says, beginning of the year as students are applying to colleges, seeking recruiters. Great. Any other ideas, please share. Leah says during our how to get a job unit. Great. Beginning of the year, also do essay writing, and we will get into a bit of an essay writing in a moment. But again, this, 15 minutes, 20 minutes, it's a simple exercise. And if you have Emerge, we have students submit in here, and the instructor can grade it. We have rubrics and you can grade. But again, you can do this very easily in any setting. Since employability skills are a part of text, they can pop up anytime, anywhere. That's right. Okay. Any other ideas about this one? Again, this is our number one, and it's been number one for a couple of years. Our number one exercise, because it really is at the heart of the matter, the texting trend. And it's disruptive, and it holds students back from opportunities that they want and that they're qualified for. But the texting just can halt it in its tracks. Regina says beginning of the year, so you can practice throughout the year. Employment documents would be a good review time. Great. All right. So that is Number one, texting versus emailing, and hopefully you got what there is to get out of this exercise. Now, let's switch over to the phone. How many of you help students with phone etiquette now? Is this a part of your year at all? Any hands up for teaching the phone, whether formally or just in conversation with students? Anybody working on the phone with students? Because it's still obviously a huge part of life. Are we texting everybody for jobs and scholarships, internships? Can we get an internship today solely by texting an employer, never speaking to them? Not really. I don't think we're there, and I don't think we'll ever be there. We have to speak to people and have the confidence to do so. And oh, that's very good. Smile when you talk. Voicemail message during the employment documents unit. We talk about it when answering the phone while they're at work. Yes, and we get into that too. How you answer the phone, like as a receptionist. Now let's talk about setting your voicemail. It's a little thing that would just get by the students. And then the employer tries to call, can't leave a voicemail. And let's just say, before we get into the exercise, student is a finalist for an opportunity. It's one, two, or three people for something. And the employer tries to call the student, no answer, no voicemail. Do you think they're going to go to the next person or wait for this first person to call them back? I think they're just going to go to the next person because they just get frustrated. Oh, I can't leave a voicemail. I'm not going to text them. I don't care. Next, right? So many opportunities are just hinging on little moments like that. So let's help them. So in this exercise, another video, I'll skip the video, but this is Janice, and she talks about the value of a voicemail, why you need one. Like I just said, it has to be there. And so what we do in the program, again, we do a lot of modeling and we give students lots of examples. And so we start off by letting them listen to a voicemail, like recording, like what does it sound like? And here's the script, a script to model off of. Hi, you've reached the cell phone of first and last name. I'm sorry I missed you. Please leave your name, number, and the reason for your call, and I will get back to you as soon as possible. If the matter is urgent, you can send me a text message. That's an option. Thanks so much. There's no problem if you offer that in your voicemail so people can get to you as quickly as possible. But this is a formal voicemail that explains who you are and what you need from them. And what we encourage students to do, and this would be such an easy exercise in the classroom, is to have students practice either alone or with a partner saying their voicemail out loud to their partner, like practicing saying it. So they're saying it, into the classroom first. What would theirs sound like so they can get comfortable with their voice? And I do recommend, as we'll talk about in the elevator pitch in a moment, when you are speaking, do you think your voice is stronger when you're speaking if you're sitting down or standing up? Tell me in the chat, sitting down or standing up? Where is your voice the strongest? Your breath and your energy. Anybody have a thought on that? Janice says standing up. I agree. Do you think that I'm sitting right now or standing? Am I sitting or standing? For all of our webinars, am I sitting or standing? I'm standing. I want to project. I want that energy. And even something as small and short as a voicemail, we want the energy to come through. We have to be at our best all the time, especially if we're going to record something and it's going to get played 100 times, right? We're always being monitored, reviewed, evaluated, even when we think we're not. So the exercise is to practice it out loud. And then when they're able to get to their cell phone, right, in class or after school, the exercise should be, now go into your phone and record your voicemail. All right. Now, what we do in our program, students can submit, as I said, and we offer the chance to actually record their voice. This shows that we have a voice recording tool. So they can record themselves in our program, and then the instructor can listen to it. And that's what a lot of teachers did this past year is let the student capture their own voicemail here, listen to it, use the rubric, score it, and then go to your own phone and record it. Because again, this is about the classroom. This is about practice. This is what it's all about. Make mistakes. That's okay. Learn. So let's record our voice and get it worked out. All right. And then they will have a voicemail in their phone, which on some day in the future, we can't predict, it will help them land an opportunity. So everything in our program is designed to be productive and practical and relevant because it's things they're going to have to do anyway if they want to get ahead. And so we're helping them do it in the classroom. So again, I want to leave this up once more, and you can grab this screenshot and help them practice their voicemail. And let me ask this in the chat one more time. Where could this exercise pop up in your year? Is it similar to the last one? Like beginning of the year or beginning of a unit? Any other ideas around the phone exercise? Tell us in the chat too, because we really want to get their phone skills up and make them comfortable speaking into it. So that is number 2. We had a lot of email etiquette going on, a lot of phone etiquette going on. That, it says to me, where teachers believe and where you believe the students need the most work. And that's why the usage is as high as it is across these topics. Early in the year, Jessica says, I would use this when I teach the unit on preparing for the world of work. Great. Great. Perfect. Perfect spot. This is the world of work. I mean, just in June, how many voicemails have you left people? Probably fewer than you did 5 years ago, but you're still doing it. I left one yesterday. There's just so many moments. Random legal things in your life, paperwork, all kinds of stuff. You just have to call people. It's just how it is, you know. We can't avoid it. It'll find us. So these are skills that I hope the the student would look back and say, so and so taught me that, and I use that every day. And I hope that a lot of this material falls into that category of I learned it in 11th grade, and I still use it today. Right? That would be that's it. That's everything. All right, so let's move on to our number 3, our third most popular, which is related to job interview. As we get into this, can you tell me in the chat, how do you teach job interview? Where does that show up in your year? Is it connected to a career fair? Is it connected to work-based learning? How do you teach interviews? If you teach it, where does that show up in your year? How do interviews play a role? And I'm going to give you, it's a great activity because it involves research on the internet and synthesizing information, coming up with questions. It really challenges students on a lot of levels, and it helps them see interviews in a brand new way. So let me know how you engage with job interview as I explain this exercise, which is, as it's called, SMART interview questions. Let me ask this, and you can answer this in the chat too. What are some of the most common questions that the applicant might ask the employer? At the end of, well, first of all, the most common answer, okay, the most common answer at the end of the interview, the employer says, so do you have any questions for me? And what do you think is the number one answer that most applicants say? Do you have any questions for me? What do you think people say most often? No. What's my that? And you're getting to my next point too, Catherine. People say no. They say no. I think you answered everything, right? No, I think you answered everything. Now, what we're all about here at Rubin and through this Emerge platform is helping students anticipate these moments and be the best person in that moment to give an answer far better than anyone else who steps in that room to interview. And so what we're going to do is teach how to ask questions no one else would think to ask, and already put ourselves into that next round of interviews or the finalist group based on these questions. All right. So, and that's right. Unprofessional questions. How much money will I make? Catherine already said that. What's the vacation policy? What are the health benefits? Where will I sit? Now, these are not wrong, but in that first interview, what do they all do? All these questions point to who? If I'm the applicant, what do they point to? Who are they pointing at? Me, 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 me. What are you going to do for me? What's in it for me? What am I going to get? right? That's what it's all focused on. Is it wrong? No. Is it predictable? Yes. Is it what the employer wants to hear right away? Not really. What would they rather hear? They want to hear something on the complete opposite side. And it really cuts to the core of our instruction in Emerge, which is simply this. If you want people to take an interest in you, then you first must take an interest in them. Let me say that one more time. If you want people to take an interest in you, then you must first take an interest in them. Raise your hand if you agree with that statement. And let me show you what that means in the context of an interview. All right. We want to show that we have done research on the company and use that research to develop questions about their work. So here's an example. I read your website bio and see you started your career in marketing for the Acme Circus Spectacular. What was that experience like? Or I read several of your company's press releases and see you're making a push to carry more gluten-free products. How big is the demand right now for gluten-free foods? Or I read an article about how Acme Corporation, one of your competitors, bought a little corporation. That deal seems like a major change in the grocery industry. What does the Acme Corporation takeover say to you? So first question, asking about their own background. People love that, ego boost. Second one, asking about the company's own work, which is freely available on their website by looking at press releases or recent news, or even asking a question about the industry. All of those questions are not focused on me. Who are they focused on? Who are they focused on? All three are focused on them. Focused on them. And what do all those questions prove? That I did my what? It's an R word. Tell me in the chat. What did I do? If I'm any of those questions prove that I did what? My research. I did my research. I will tell you right now. It's a gotcha question. The employer says, have you had a chance to visit our website yet? And what do most people say? Oh, yeah, I think I glanced at it this morning when I was coming in for the interview. What does that mean? Does that mean they really looked at it? No, they did not. And because we make the assumption that we're coming in for the interview and we're great because they want to talk to us. So we don't even need to really know what goes on at this company until we get hired. False. If you want to impress them right out of the gate, show that you know their work up and down. At a minimum, develop some questions that show you've done your research. So it's a great activity. Okay. It's such a good activity to send the students. This is what you'll do. Okay. You can take this recording. All right. Well, actually, we have some examples here that are links. So to visit people's companies. So I'll just tell you like this. You can share that. Imagine me talking to students in the fall. Go to a website of a company where you'd like to work or intern. It could be a company in your hometown. It could be a dream company somewhere in the world, right? And when you get there, go to their website and visit a page like recent news or blog or press releases or latest news or even their Instagram or their Facebook and find something that they are proud of, some recent achievement, some news article, something that they want the world to know. Have the student read it all the way through. And then have the student prepare at least one question from that article they read. That where they're showing curiosity. Tell me more. I read about your recent partnership with such and such. I want to know more about that. Let me be very clear with you. Whatever they ask, whatever the question, they've already won because they're showing interest and curiosity more than anyone else will do. So it doesn't have to be perfect. It just has to show intention. And when they do, the employer will not forget them. They will go to the top of the stack and they will be this person that others are judged on. Are they as good as this student? Because this student asked really insightful questions. These people did not. So it is so easy. And how long would it take? Let me ask in the chat one more thing and we'll go to the next topic. How much time would it take for your students to visit a website of a company, read an article, and develop a question? How much time do you think that would take? Tell me in the chat. How many minutes? But think of all the employability skills contained in that exercise. The research, the questions, the critical thinking. So many of our workplace readiness standards are baked into that exercise. And I see here we have different ideas. Well, 1 hour maybe to do a really thorough job, but even just to come up with one question, 15 minutes, 20 minutes, 15 minutes, not long, but the power of it. And not just to power in this one-time exercise, but to take that idea with them. And I really would encourage you to take this concept throughout your year. Whenever a student is about to research a company, or you have a guest speaker coming in, or you're going to a site tour, anytime a student is interacting with an adult professionally, the first move is research them. Research them, research their company. Research all the time. Have a question ready. Have a question ready. If they can get in that mindset in high school, middle school, high school, college, they leave school and they're always thinking, I need to know about them first, know about them first. The doors that will open for them, you can't even calculate. It will be incredible what happens when they learn to think about others first. So this is one 20-minute exercise, but it's bigger than that. And if you can sprinkle this idea in all the time, research, they will become trained to do that. And frankly, it makes them better people because it shows they care about people outside of themselves and they're willing to give the love before they expect to get it. Okay, so this is one exercise that has huge implication in the world. So let's now switch to number 4. Okay, our 4th most popular. And what we just talked about is how to show other people the love, how to give other people the time and attention. Does that mean we should never talk about ourselves? And we should just go in there and only talk about them, refuse to share who we are? Of course not. But again, there's a traditional, typical way to do everything. And what we're advocating in Emerge is there's a way to do it in a special approach every single time to never be forgotten. And let me ask you this. In that same interview, what is the most common question that the employer asks the applicant? What's that first classic kickoff question? There's a couple, but there's some big ones. What do you think? They say, so, Miss Smith, tell me a little bit about yourself. Thank you, Jessica. Thank you, Janet. We all knew it, right? Tell me about yourself, which actually goes into our next activity too, which is elevator pitch. Tell me who you are. So what do most people say? They say, well, I'm a hardworking, I'm really dependable, I'm really passionate, I'm really responsible. We use a lot of adjectives, right? Because that's what comes in our brain. Like, how do we describe ourselves? We say all these words that are positive words. Those are attributes. But how many of us could tell somebody, you got to believe me, I'm a hard worker, right? But if just saying that, telling someone you work hard, does that prove you're a hard worker? Let me ask, tell me yes or no in the chat. If I tell you I'm a hard worker, is that enough for you to believe me? That I just told you that? Right? I can tell you anything. But yeah, Jessica says it. You need examples. And what we really need when people have limited time and attention is one really good example. One great example, right? That's how they'll believe us. Don't tell someone you're great. Show them why you're great. Okay? So let's look at, and I won't play this, but this is a young lady who used this technique to land 12 internship interviews at these New York City marketing and PR firms like Madison Avenue, like top of the top. and then essentially got to choose where she wanted to work because she told a story of overcoming challenge, even while in school. And that's what made the employers want to call her back. So she talks about that. So let's talk about what it means to tell a story. And I'm going to show you a story. And then I'm going to see if you can think of some stories of your own from your students in the chat. So what we do in our cover letter, and this could also be used in the interview, right, is we are not, before I show you the sneaky move here, what is the classic opening line of a cover letter? What's that first line after "Dear Hiring Manager"? What's the first few words? How does it always start? If you go to Google or you go to ChatGPT and you say, I need a cover letter, what's the first few words? Starts with an M. Dear so-and-so, my name is blank, and I'm a student at such and such school, and I'm applying for the position of blank. Isn't that how it always starts? Or, if it's an adult, same thing. Name and title and what you're applying for. Now, we have to break away from that because that line is too typical and it's not going to get anybody to want to read more. And it's not going to prove who you are. So let's blow it up. Blowing it up. All right. And we're starting with this. Forget the "my name is." Look at this line. I looked up at the sky and couldn't believe it. Storm clouds. Raise your hand if I have your attention now. If that's more interesting than "my name is." Let's keep going. For months, my team and I had prepared for the annual Big Nonprofit Association Charity Bash, in which students throw a party for 24 hours straight and raise money for children's hospitals. We had the quad reserved and the event ready to go. Then out of nowhere, a huge thunderstorm threatened to ruin everything. As team leader, I organized our group to take the dance party inside the gymnasium, notified all 250 participants about the location change, and worked with an audio-visual tech to ensure the music played indoors. Within 3 hours, we had the Big Nonprofit Association party back on track, and in the end, collected $11,000 for charity, the most we had ever raised. Oh, and there it is. My name is Jennifer Sutherland, and I want to be your next program associate. Let me stop here and ask you a question. I want you to tell me what words, what adjectives, what qualities come through when you heard this story. How would you describe this young lady? Put some words in the chat. How would you describe her? And I'll get some water while you type. What words would you use? What does she suggest to you? What kind of adjectives? Creative. What else? Let's get a few more. Because there's a lot of the words I just said to you a few minutes ago. Go-getter, problem solver, right? Now, the typical cover letter is going to say, I'm a go-getter, I'm ambitious, I'm a problem solver, I'm creative, right? Are any of those words in part 2? Did you see me have a whole string of adjectives in part 2? No. Instead, we gave an example. And through the example, we can feel those qualities. The best way to prove yourself is through a story. Everything else falls away. It's just words. So the activity here is to help students brainstorm a moment in their life where they faced a challenge. It could be from a class project, volunteering in the community, sports, a job, helping their family at home. It can come from anywhere. And students will say, I promise you this, they'll say, I don't have a story. And that is wrong because we all have stories. We're all facing obstacles every day. And I am curious, and you're welcome to type it and I'll keep going, but if you write it, I'll stop. If you can think of a student who overcame a challenge this past year, could be related to classwork or something even bigger, tell us the brief story in the chat because it's so important that we learn to tell our own story. When we talk about ourselves, we tell stories. When we talk to others, we do our research. And if we can live in that mindset, we will be successful. We will not wait in line. We will break through these stacks of people who want the things that we want. So I left this up long enough that you can teach from this and have students create at least the top portion of their cover letter by using this model. And I want to point out one more thing, and then we'll move on. That do you see in these paragraphs? Do you see some numbers? Can somebody just highlight one number they see in this chat, in these paragraphs in the chat? What is one number that calls out to you? And this is what being a journalist, bringing journalistic technique into the classroom, what it looks like. $11,000, 24 hours, 250 participants, 3 hours. So we have to quantify our success. We can't say, oh, we were going to have a big event and then it was going to rain, but then we moved it inside and it was great and we raised a lot of money. Well, how many people were there? How much money? Put concrete details in your story to make it even more believable and impressive. Because if you say, oh, we raised a lot of money, I wouldn't have thought $11,000. I would have thought maybe like $500. So you got to own your numbers. You got to own your story. So really take this example to heart and help students lead with us an opening line that's going to get your attention and explain process, how you solve the problem, and use your numbers. All right. So this is, again, one of the most popular things taught in our program, which I'm so happy about, because we want to turn students into storytellers, and it's going to help them get where they want to go. All right. Now, the last thing, and then we'll head for home. Elevator pitches. Again, if you teach that in class, or anybody here work within a CTSO, perhaps helping students with like public speaking, extemporaneous speaking, through competition. Okay, Janet with HOSA. By the way, is anybody going to be in Houston next week? We're going down to the HOSA International Conference in Houston. Anybody going to be there? You can find us at our booth. We'll be there for a couple days. Oh, good. See you in Houston. So, all right, let's talk about elevator pitch. We got me this time with a little overview. And so what we do, and I said this is a way to not just have an elevator pitch in the traditional sense, but also to start thinking about, as students, like, who am I? What am I interested in? What is my identity? What am I all about? And so we give students this really short 3-step model. It is a short elevator pitch that hits on 3 key areas, and I'll read them with you. And then students can use this model to practice. Step 1, who are you really? I'm a junior at Acme High School who's interested in computer science and technology. That's your first line. That's who am I right now in my life? And that line will change throughout our lives as we grow older. But that's where we are right now. Then what do you do? Well, you might say I'm a, quote, tech geek because I spend a lot of time in the school's computer lab. That's where we learn to deconstruct laptops and build them back together. I'm vice president of the campus computer club and love to pick apart a motherboard or hard drive and help people with their computer challenges. So we are getting specific using nouns, right? Laptops and motherboard, hard drive, proper nouns, vice president of the campus computer club. So we're using concrete language and we're letting the person visualize what we like to do, but always with a focus on how our passion can add value for somebody else. That's the whole world. That's the economy. That's capitalism. We have to provide a service to show value. And so the last line is bring them home. After I finish school, I hope to find a job that uses computers and the latest technology to make the world a smarter place. And you could even think about this for yourself as an educator. One of the toughest jobs on planet Earth, thank you for what you do, is to think about your own elevator pitch and your own bring them home. Like, why do you do what you do? What is it all about for you? Why do you head back into school in the fall and teach? What is it? What makes you keep going? And so this is a model for anybody at any age, but for students, this is the first opportunity to start to articulate who they are, what they like, why it matters, and the impact they want to make in the world. And so that they can build it out, type it out, and then practice saying it out loud to a partner, to the classroom, whatever context it's in. But this is a simple model. where they can work on who they are. And really, when you read this all out, it's about 30 seconds, which to me is the perfect length of time. It's not too short. It's not too long. It just says what it needs to say and it pops out. All right. So this as our final activity that was most popular this past year. Here's our model for a great elevator pitch. All right. Now, I want to reiterate two things that I said at the beginning. If folks came in a little late, one is that we are running a Chick-fil-A gift card sweepstakes. If you didn't see this before, you just have to follow the Rubin Company on Instagram and with the QR code, and then tag a friend in the comments of the top post, which is about this Chick-fil-A giveaway, and then you'll be entered. So follow us, tag a friend, and you're in. We'll announce the winner in August. And the last thing that I mentioned is if you are interested in a deeper dive, even just to explore it and look around more at our Emerge curriculum, you're welcome to book a meeting with our team. The link's in the chat, and we will meet with you for a few minutes this week or early next week, give you access to it, let you poke around, and you can use Emerge in one classroom next year at no cost. So that's our offer to you for being here with us on the webinar. And you can do what other teachers are doing and letting students work out of our platform delivered in your LMS. So it's right there at your fingertips, more content than you'll even have time for, but it's all there in a big searchable library. So those are the big picture topics that I wanted to share. And if anybody has additional questions, please ask me right now. Otherwise, as we wrap up, I'll let you go about 10 minutes early and still get the hour, and we'll email you the certificate later today, most likely, and proof that you were here. And we have one more, thank you for the comments in the chat. We have one more webinar for the summer. It's taking place July 9th, which is a Tuesday. And we'll be talking about how to connect an interest inventory with career exploration videos. And so I hope you'll join us there, and we'll do a deeper dive into some more career exploration, relevant for elementary, middle school, high school, or beyond. And then one last thing I want to share. How many of you know about our Dream Job webinars? This will be a good opportunity to share our YouTube channel too. You're welcome to subscribe. I know some of you have been before, and let me put this in the chat too. One last thing for you. Yes, we work with Aries, and I know we're speaking shortly, so we can talk more about that this afternoon. Yes, we work with Aries, and the link I just gave you in the chat, it is to our YouTube channel. We do in the fall semester, we do twice a month live webinars with students and teachers where we talk with professionals from different careers. It's called our Dream Job series. And we talk with people across all different pathways. I'll just bring up a few. All different pathways around the country, professionals, many are young professionals, and we talk about their job and the value of employability skills in their job. And so twice a month we do that, and we will kick that off again after Labor Day. We'll have our schedule out late August, and we'll be talking with people in different fields again. And we love for you to come with your students live, ask questions live. It's really interactive. It's a lot of fun. It's usually about 45 minutes long. And we do it around lunchtime, sort of East Coast, and try to be as accommodating as we can with time zones. And so keep an eye out on your email from us for the schedule of our Dream Job webinars, and then subscribe to our channel, because every time we do one, we put the recording on our channel and you'll get notified that it's there. And even now, if you poke around here now, there's over 70 conversations. There's so many. I mean, there's hours and hours and hours of content now, and we'll keep adding to that library during the new school year. So that's the last thing I want to say, so you know who we are, what we're up to, and how to stay engaged this summer and fall. So with that, I'll say thank you again for your time, and I hope we'll see you July 9th and then again in the fall. and keep an eye out for us this summer. We hope to have some other fun announcements in August before the school year kicks off. But thank you again. I hope you have a great day and a great week, and we'll see you in July.